Bam! What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, good people? Y'all know who it is up here in this piece. How's that, Hair Savant? He said, we up in this piece. That's right. That's right. It's me, your homegirl Ladosha, right up in this piece. That's right. And my one and only, my homegirl, the unapologetically brilliant. There she is right there. Cheryl Morrow, aka the Hair Oracle. We are in the house. We are so excited. We are actually on our 74th episode. It's going down right here. That's right. So, welcome on all of our social media platforms. Hello, LinkedIn. How are you trolls doing? We see y'all out there trolling on us. Hello, Facebook, and what's happening to the ultimate YouTube families, our partners in helping to change the narrative. About hair on our 74th episode. This one is going to be real good as we all hail the Oracle. There it is, Cheryl. Everybody, all hail Cheryl. Like, is y'all crazy out here? No, we ain't crazy. We're not crazy at all. We're on our 74th episode, and today we are going to be talking about stress and hair. Now, this one is sure to be a good one because everybody has some degree of stress, and we have all heard that stress is probably nothing gets blamed for making hair. I mean, next to medicine, and we're probably should do one about medicine and hair, things like that. But stress is one of those true health concerns that people have. So, stress when it comes to hair is commonly associated with this stuff right here. Like, does it make your hair turn gray? So, if it does, oh boy, I'm telling on myself. That's one. So, stress causes the hair to become gray. What about falling out? Nothing's worse than you pull on your hair and you got clumps of hair. So stress is supposedly responsible for making your hair come out. And then, of course, we have all heard that stress, it makes your skin just looks really, really bad. So I'm going to be the instigator, and Cheryl BMF, the Hair Oracle, is going to get us all together. I see you in the chat. What's up, Monica? We got my ATL BFF is in the chat. We have the illustrious Sonia Salam. What's up, Sonia? What's up, Boo Boo? We have not went out to dinner the last time. I mean, what's up? Me and her, we always go out to dinner. I don't really like to, put our business all out there. But since you all up in the chat, I got to put you on blast. So what's up, Sonia in the chat? Hair Savant, I can't wait to meet you. Time is ticking. It's almost that time for the Afro Hair Summit that's coming to Toledo. I'll talk about that as we get going. Hey, Michelle, I see you in the chat. And then I think we had our homegirl. There she go. What's up, Lawana? I see you. Lawana was in there first, like, hey, where y'all at? Cheryl, Dosha, come on, hurry up. We were coming. So we are here. You know who said that first? If you're nasty, hey, sexy. I miss the old genius of love, whatever. Yeah, may he rest in peace. The Andre Harrell. Those was like, hey, that was the best rappers like ever, ever, ever. Yeah. So we're gonna hop right into the topic, but before we do it, she said not when we get our ice cream. I knew you was gonna bring that up. Why we go get some ice cream last year and they didn't want to serve Black people? Right here in Cleveland, Ohio, in Trump territory. I was like, what's wrong with y'all? Anyhow, we ate the ice cream and got the ham sandwich up out of there. So here we go. We got some great current events as we wait for some people to come into the chat. We're going to play our wonderful, wonderful sister. Let me do your hair. So y'all just get ready to listen to some good old music as we welcome some of you guys right on in. So here we go. It's spinning. All right, this jam is about the one and only Miss Rachel Evans. You guys can go over to Amazon and buy you your own little copy of Let me do your hair, and this is by Miss Rachel Evans. This is our theme song for the dumbest shit that people say about black hair.
Sister, you are beautiful, respectful, very special. You are wonderful. I want to
Hey.
help you. Let me help your light to shine through. I'd be so
Happy,
very
so very
happy
happy
if you would
if you
let
would.
me do your
Come
hair.
on, y'all. Come on to the Afro Hair Summit. Get y'all tickets for me and Shelby to do y'all hair. At least talk about y'all hair. Let us talk about y'all hair.
Let me do your hair.
Hey.
Let me do your hair. Sister, survivor of what you've been through, heartache.
Hey.
Won't get the best of you. I want to help you. Let me help you.
So you know I gotta do that snake, right?
You'll be so
Y'all know about that snake. And if you old school, you know how to snake, you'll bring it forward.
Oh, you do it forward.
If you old school, you know how to bring that snake forward, right? Ah, that's when I used to be real cute back in them days. I love this part of the song. So, are y'all ready to let us do y'all hair and talk about stress in hair? Get them questions ready. Bam. I'm a hairstylist. I'm still working at Reverend Design Team Hair Salon. Let me do your hair. Hey, come on, y'all. Put your hands together for the one and only, the illustrious Rachel Evans, who has been absolutely so kind to allow us to use her beautiful song to be our intro for our podcast, The Dumbest Shit That People Say About Hair Care. I'm sorry, the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. And yes, I could have done the butterfly, but I can't. My knees just don't. You know what I'm saying? Harrison Fine, so I can get that stanky leg, but I don't know about that butterfly. So what's up, Sandra? How you doing? How you doing? So we are about to have a wonderful discussion about stress and hair, particularly those three common concerns about stress. And that is number one, it makes your hair come out. Number two, does it turn it white/gray like Ladosha? And then number three, what about your skin? You know, does stress like really make your skin like break out and you get nervous and then your pimples and everything starts popping up all over your face? So this is a wonderful time to get your questions ready. So, but before we do that, you know, we always have our current events. So this is an interesting current event. Let me see, where's my picture at? So Governor Newsom went on ahead and here she is. And he has just appointed an African-American to the Senate out of California. And her name is Miss LaFonza Butler. And they were saying like, he can't appoint no black woman. why, why they, what's wrong with a black woman being a senator? You know what I'm saying? So she's done some wonderful things, in politics. So here she is, and so she's going to fill Dianne Feinstein's seat. I did not know that Dianne Feinstein was one of the first to be introducing like legislation around like gun control, gun safety, gun responsibility. So Dianne Feinstein, she has some rich history, and just like trailblazing for women to get into politics. What do you think about him appointing her? And we should definitely give her a big shout out. These jobs are not hard. I'm sure that they are not hard. They are not as easy as people think they are. And that's a very prominent position. So she can do some wonderful things in that space. And so Governor Newsom, he kind of, he's a unique politician. He loved California. He died for that state. I think he really listens to the constituents. To me, I look at Governor Newsom like he's a really good delegator. He lets people who knows how to do the stuff. And then did I say do the? Y'all know I'm from the hood, right? Do the stuff. So do stuff. I'm sorry, if you're not from America, you probably don't even know what I just said. But do the translates into do the. So he let people do the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So any feedback about Newsom and this new appointment?
No. I think California has always been progressive. We've always been progressive. I think Newsom, he's probably setting himself up for a presidential run at some point, I'm sure.
Because we ain't got no black people. Uh-oh.
Well, put it this way, that name, LaFonza.
Hey.
Hey.
They too young. They don't know.
Yeah,
LaFonza, Ladosha, same thing. All right. So let's give it up for LaFonza Butler for her new appointment here in Ohio. In California at the Senate. If you read up about her, very impressive resume. Definitely worth the Google. She will not disappoint. So there it is. Oh, we have a new one. What's going on, Miss Janet Stevens Collins? So nice to see you in the chat. Welcome. Y'all say hi to y'all cousin. Hold on. Here she go. There she is right here. Hey, cousin. How you doing, Janet? What's up? What's up? We got LinkedIn coming through. How you doing, Miss Collins? We're so glad to see you. Now, here's something. Now, Cheryl, I really want your honest opinion. Harris Savant, everybody get ready. I'm sure this gentleman is making all the buzz on all the social media. You can't go on to Google. You can't go on to right here, even on YouTube. You cannot go Twitter. He's blowing it up. Here he is with his new hair. Y'all ready? Here he goes.
Jimmy, last year you came out with the braids, man. What's this?
I had dreads last year.
Yeah, the dreads.
What's this?
Yeah.
This is my emotional state. I'm one with my emotions. So this is what you get.
All right. Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat. He went there. He was like, my emotional. He said, it's my emo hair. All right, come on, y'all. I like it. I like it.
I do. I mean, how stark different can you be? You got locks, it's all kinky, coily, all curly, and then I'm just one with my emotions. I can do straight too.
I love this one. Here we go. Baby Cat Williams. I love this chat. Baby Cat Williams. That's a good one. Janet Stevens says, hey, she loves it. Everybody loves it. Oh, yes, you saw that. That hair was definitely flowing. I mean, hey, he was popping it. But, again, everybody's trying
I
to.
just think that black men can just be the vanguards of, hey, do what you got to do, whatever it is that you want
And
to do.
we here it is. Yes, very bouncy. We cannot act like this situation, is brand new, because Cheryl loves to point out again that black men were the first to do it. Am I not lying? There he is.
They was the first to do it.
They were the first. Nobody questioned his sexuality. There was nothing about his masculinity, his credibility. Surely was not even an issue. Of course, his talent. Nobody, questioned anything about Jackie.
No one questioned James Brown.
Nobody questioned James Brown. Oh, what about him right here? Come on now.
France. No one questioned it.
No, not to say. Oh, no. Hold on. What about this my main man right here? Bam. I mean, who wore it best? Morris Day or Jackie Wilson? Who had it? Here is Jackie Wilson. They're pretty much the same hairstyle.
Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole.
And I'm sorry, you forgot the main one.
Oh, Al Sharpton.
No,
not Al Sharpton. Who?
Little Richard.
Oh my goodness, shame on me. Oh, the hair guys is gonna get me. Yeah, the hair guys is gonna get me. I like the gentleman's hair. I hope he rocks it all on the court to prove a point. He's gonna play that basketball game and watch how that hair just slay. Okay.
And wait a minute. And then he gonna do the man bun, and he got his little black nail polish on. I know his toes is looking all good. I know his girls probably looking at them toes like.
And what's his name? They tried to get on him too, Dennis Rodman. So, and he said, leave me alone. This is what, and the guy said, well, you have braids. He said, no, I did not have braids. I had locks, so this is what we can do. And that is what this platform is all about. It's just really, showing the diversity of hair, and that it is truly, truly a part of, just human expression, and not about being damaged and all this, that, and the third. But let's hop right into the topic again. Welcome everybody to our 74th episode. And today we are going to be talking about stress in hair. Does it, make your hair fall out? Does it make your hair turn gray? Does it jack your skin up? So we have a clip to get the conversation going. Just to, just kind of go through about stress and hair. And let's see which one am I going to use to do that one. Okay, let's start off. Here we go. Stress and hair. Here we go.
But as many of us return back to a new normal, there may be something else happening to you that you may think is abnormal. Hair loss
can be very disturbing. Stress-induced hair loss is a phenomenon called telogen effluvium, which we've been seeing for years and decades. It's unique during this time because, it's not just people that are having COVID that we're seeing hair loss.
The dermatologists at the Cleveland Clinic tell us they have been very busy lately because hair loss isn't always an immediate response to stress.
The hair is on a 3-month delay. So what we see today is a result of what happened, 2 or 3 months ago.
What you talking about, Will?
All right. So there you have it. There are various forms of hair loss, but during the pandemic, I picked that one deliberately because that definitely came up during the pandemic, and that one is telogen effluvium. So if you are a cosmetologist, you are aware of the 3 stages of hair, the life strand of a hair. You have your anagen, your catagen, and your telogen phase. And so the telogen is when it's coming out. So Cheryl, we like to just get on. We ain't gonna cut through the mustard now. does stress, like I'm worried about my bills. I'm gonna leave this broke mocha joker. I want to get this job. I can't get this weight off. I can't find my damn keys. These kids is getting on my nerves. These bills are mounting. Just the whole 9 yards. I don't like my boss. Just stress. And it's just constant. For a lot of people, it never seems to go away unless you got some money. Something about money just makes stress go away. I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. When I got money, I'm like Big Perm. Who else out here like Big Perm? With my money, it's like messing with my emotions. You know what I'm saying? You can cheat on me, but you bet not mess with my money. Does stress make hair fall out?
Mhm.
Hold up. In the chat, let's get them involved. Hold on, chat. Wake up, y'all. Are y'all ready? All in favor that stress makes your hair come out? I'm going to go ahead and drop mine in the chat. I honestly don't think stress makes your hair come out. So I'm going to go and be the first to say no. I don't think stress makes your hair come out. Who else? If you think it makes your hair come out, okay. Lavina, we got the boss in the chat. There she is. If you watch my little YouTube clip, you'll get a chance to see Lavina live and direct. She was so kind to let me oblige a little quick peep of what she looks like. She's very beautiful. So me and Harrison Vaughn said, nope, not at all. Doesn't believe. All right, we got the L's, and come on, guys. Do you think it's a delayed response? So do you think stress makes your hair come out? Sonya said, oh, hold on. Here we go. They coming through. Edges. Hold on. Wait a minute. We're going to get you guys some culture for sure. The kitchen. She said, nope. It does not make your hair come out. Okay. Janice Stevens is joining us in from LinkedIn. So thank you so very much. She says, no, sirree, Bob. So it appears Sonia says, I believe it does, particularly those edges. Something happens when you're under stress. And she says the hairline for sure starts to come out. So for the most part, we dropping L's for Lavina, and we don't believe that stress makes your hair come out. I got my ink pen here, Savant, so we can cheat for the class.
Okay. I think I touched on it a little bit at the Afro Hair Science Summit, only because it was the last conversation. I think that, or last course that we snuck in at the last stand, right? And, during the last clip, what professionals, and I don't care who they are, even in the medical world, in the cosmetology world, they talk about the condition. So they'll say the effluvium. They'll talk about dermatitis, or they'll talk whatever. And they're talking about the human body as if the human body recognizes these conditions. Body doesn't recognize these conditions as they are in terms of a description. And I think the answer is yes and no, because the body has what we call an autoimmune response. And when that response, now what causes the immune system either imbalanced, optimal, or deficient, efficient, or deficient? What makes that cataclysmic action at that time? It is a stressor. So does the stressor, but the stressor is not direct connected to how the immune system is going to fix or balance the hormones. So you have the stressor that is environmental, circumstantial, right? And
Right.
then how you emotionally deal with it, internalize it, or it could be systemic stress. It does not necessarily have to be emotional or just psychological. It
So now
could
what's systemic stress? Like what does that mean?
A systemic stress could be food poisoning.
Oh,
It could be a vaccine. You're putting a germ, you're putting a virus inside of the body. The immune system responses. Okay,
mm,
you have autoimmunes to dust, histamine, right?
okay.
And it has its and then you let's say you sprain your ankle and then the body says injury, and so all of the white blood cells go to that. Okay, or you
Okay.
cut yourself and then all the platelets and everything to clot it. The wound healing process starts going. But because we in the medical world we will name that one condition, then me and you as a profession will start trying to deal with the condition. So when we ask questions like, does stress cause hair loss? The stressor didn't cause the hair loss, the body's response to it.
Hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of following you. So are you saying that the hair loss is more like a symptom of how the body could be responding
Yeah,
to?
because you notice when you go to now in my when I was practicing cosmetic trichology, when I had very different degrees of hair loss. Sometimes the hair will completely come out, evacuate, right?
Hmm.
And you'll get a brown bald spot. That will be the areata, right?
Okay.
Then sometimes you have a epidemic of just breakage, like it happens in the nape, right? It'll just come off at a certain point, the closest it possibly can before coming all the way out. You'll just have a little new growth and it'll just wipe that whole area, right, cut off at the new growth. Or you'll have the effluvium, which is the shedding, just the whole strands coming out, leaving some of the hair in, and it'll
Hmm.
just get thin. But it is an autoimmune response, or it could be a systemic.
Hmm.
Medication does have sometimes a hair loss indication, which will suppress the immune system so much because of that new drug or that new virus or vaccine you guys took, right?
Right.
It'll suppress it so much that the invader suppresses the immune system so much that the body will take resources from your hair cells,
Oh,
from your melanocytes, right? And
right.
then, or you guys notice when areata just wipes it really clean, right? It'll just be clean right there, just the scalp.
Right.
But you'll see the follicles, but it'll just be clean, right?
Correct.
So the body just shut down the cell production at that point,
So
right?
are you saying that the body is selectively choosing what's more important?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm kind of, I
Your
mean,
body, absolutely. Your body has an immune system. It wards out, doesn't just deal with external invaders. It's internal invaders by either your nose, you put your hands and you got sick, all of a sudden it goes in your tonsils. You can even feel the drip. And then your tonsils get it, try to fight it before it gets down to your heart and goes down your esophagus. It's all trying to protect you and keep you alive via pH. You can tell when you do have, maybe you can tell that you're fighting something. What will happen? The immune system will raise the blood pressure, and then you'll have a fever because it's trying to surround and corral and secure that location, which is
hmm,
your fever. You'll have a certain part of you'll feel warm and hot, things of that nature, or
Right.
your
Wow.
nodes will throb.
Wow.
But it's they're controlling it by pH, and they're trying to get the resources. But when
Mm.
your immune system is so suppressed, like chemotherapy, it will
Right. I was
that.
gonna say that's what someone wanted to know. You
Mhm.
went right into it. So and that was Sonia. She said, "So is that why her hair fell out during chemo?"
The chemo has to. It kills and it suppresses all cell production because it's trying to kill every cell. That is, and unfortunately, that is still the standard of care and how we deal with um, um, all forms of cancer. But when they nuke all your cells, blow them all away. The problem is that because you make cells every day, it
Mm-hmm.
takes the body at least 7 to 8 to 9 months just to get cut all of the other systems on. Your beauty systems, unfortunately, are the last ones to be cut on because the body is very discriminative. It's very discerning.
Oh, I like that. The body is very discriminative, it's very discerning. And so the cuteness is going to be last on the list. It's either your kidney, your heart, or your hair. And the body say, hair, your ass got to wait in line because I got to get this heart together.
Right.
So,
And then
now, does
once.
that, I'm sorry for cutting you off. So,
Mhm.
does that explain? I don't know if you guys caught that, but she said there's a delay. She said sometimes when the hair comes out after a stressful situation, it's not immediate. There's like a time period will go past, and then you're like, oh, the hair is coming out, and I seem to be, you know,
What
um,
she what she meant by that is that the invader or the stressor could have happened 3 months ago.
oh, okay,
Right.
all
Not
right.
not the auto response, but
Oh,
the form that whatever it is taken the body that long to decide what it's going to do. It has
mm.
been there because at the end of the day, the first time you decide that you hate your boss, your hair doesn't come out.
All right, guys. So if you're just stressing about them keys and that rent and stuff, that ain't gonna necessarily make you bald, make your hair fall out. So just go
Right.
on and pay your rent, pay the late fee. It's gonna be okay, y'all. All right. And if you can't find the keys, they're probably in the freezer. Your hair is gonna be okay. So here's a good one. Lady J says, "What about those instances where she noticed that her hair was coming out?" but she couldn't discern, could it have been the relaxer or was it stress? So, how do you differentiate if your hair is coming out because of stress or something you did, like maybe with a chemical? So, she says she's switching to another relaxer. And so, is there a way that you can discern between something you did wrong with the chemical compared to at the same time, like I was stressed, you know?
Mhm. Well, usually, if you had, when you do a relaxer, it does raise the pH of the scalp. And then the scalp after that, okay, goes through what you call a recovery period because you've just taken off the layers, right?
Okay.
And so the scalp goes into wound healing mode, okay?
Mm,
And so that is the recovery. But you would see an oops days later,
mm,
just like the young lady just said in the video. Stressors are usually on delay. Okay, you will see it eventually. It will probably be just one day, but it will be stemming from something that happened 3 months ago, or
mm,
something on that happened 3 months ago and still ongoing until the fact that you see the immune system being so suppressed that it will begin to respond, and that is that auto respond. And most people, well, most professionals or even physicians and researchers have tried to pinpoint that moment of when that happens, when an autoimmune response, when your good cells attack, the good cells, and then of course the bad ones. But
Right.
they don't discern once the immune system and the autoimmune response is responding.
Okay.
And we only focus on the hair, but it's not the hair, it's the scalp.
Hmm.
You just see it as in the hair, but it's not the hair itself. The hair is inside of a bulb, in an inner root sheath, in a pouch.
Mm-hmm.
It's in an organ that has its own separate set of neurons and cell production and things of that nature. So that's why the response is there, because it's not connected to your heart or your lungs or your pancreas or your kidneys or things.
Okay. So here is Sonia has another one. She says, well, how important is it to have these types of conversations about stress with your stylist? So, um, you know,
Well, and let me just say this. When I was practicing in New York at cosmetic trichology or any type of cosmetology, that cosmetologists, if they are astute, and I believe as most of them are, they will begin to have that conversation with you. They have conversations with you all the time. But
mhm.
if they are very astute and your appointment is not time sensitive, you should be able to at least converse without telling all your business if you don't want to share. But most of them share with me anyway. But there is some things that your stylist could help you do. Okay, they
Okay.
will put you in a style that just does not put a lot of stress on your scalp. I mean, there's just many things that you can do, but so the answer is yes.
Okay, so make sure you talk with your stylist about some of these. I know I do, but I don't try to play doctor. But I am definitely of the school of thought that just your regular I'm heartbroken, money problems. I don't think those types of things really is going to have an influence. However, when you're really really like stressing, like medication, life or death situations, of course, like Cheryl says, something has entered your body like a virus. Of course, that systemic part is very, very important and is vital. So there you have it. Okay. Now, what about this situation here? Let me see. I hope I can play it right here about the hair turning gray. So here we go.
Currently in 1793, Marie Antoinette showed Madame Campan her hair, and it's actually when describing this meeting in her memoirs that Campan explicitly says that, quote, it had become in one single night as white as that of a woman of 70, end quote. She also noted that the Queen was sending her friend, the Princess de Lamballe, a ring containing a lock of her changed hair, and which bore the inscription, whitened through unhappiness.
What you talking about, Will?
Hey, there you have it. I mean, I'm telling you, when someone sits in my chair and I call them like dust fairies, when they have those two little strands of gray, and the first thing they will say to me is, I'm under so much stress, my hair is turning gray. So come on, before Cheryl gives us an answer, do you think that stress can turn your hair gray? Yes or no? I do know they also say that the gray hair means wisdom, so that you've survived some of this stress. So you've earned every single gray. I'm not going to cover my gray because there we have it. We'll get to that one. That's a good one too. So do you think right now, I believe that you can be under so much stress in the event, just like Marie Antoinette, her hair turned as white as snow, and she sent a lock of that hair to demonstrate this is how. Now, remember, she was under the guillotine, okay? So that's some serious stress. So Dewey says, I believe it. Sonia says, yes, I'm going to go out on a limb. And I don't think stress. Let me put my answer in. So let's see what else we have in the chat. Do you think stress turns your hair gray? So let's see what we got going here. Janet, she says, I love my gray. I don't know what you talking about. So we got someone who loves their gray. Harrison Vaughn says, I don't think it can turn it so at any time. All right. Okay. So Lisa, hey Lisa, how you doing? No, no. Sonia is remaining the outlier. And she says, yes, she thinks it does. And everybody else, we're saying, nah, I don't think it turns your hair gray. So survey says,
Yes.
my last name is spelled right, but god dang nabbits, I'm always wrong. Welcome to the 74th episode of the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. So she says, I know, Lisa, we're all in the chat. Like, shut up, look at Sonya. All diabolical and shit, you know? So she says, yes. So she said she was gray since she was okay. So Live Work Clean says she's had gray since she was 12. So let's talk about this gray hair and stress, and you might as well help us out with our gray hair, you know. So how does this happen, Cheryl? I feel some kind of way. I just want to let y'all
know. There's a difference between loss of pigment and then lack of pigment. Okay. So lack of pigment means it wasn't there or it's hereditary. It goes on autopilot. Okay.
That would be Kilolo. So is this what am I?
It doesn't make a difference. It's just lack of pigment, meaning that there either was pigment there and you were predisposition to have it decrease, okay, and or you had it and it's just you lost it. But graying is not a condition. The key here, once again, is that we're in a manufacturing plant, right? We're in an assembly line. And then part of the assembly line is that you have boards. And part of the assembly line is to paint it black. The problem is that somewhere in the plant is now under compromise. So now you got hijacked and somebody stole the painters. Well, then you don't have pigment. It's an autoimmune response if you had pigment and you have loss of pigment. Graying is melanocytes within the inner root sheath of the follicle, and you have it's a cell production. But once the pump stops, lesser and lesser and lesser, either due to hereditary or a stressor, putting the pressure on the immune system.
That immune system is a unique
because it's in charge. It's the ones in charge of the neurotransmitters and the neuropeptides. It's in charge of the messages. It's in charge of the receptors. It's in charge. It is what keeps everything going from glands to all your glands, all of your hormones, all of them. It's in charge. And so it's not just a matter of the 12-year, the girl said, the woman that said she's been gray or she has had low melanocytes within the hair cell production. She's only has lack of pigment. She doesn't have loss of pigment. Does that make sense?
I think so. Look at Harrison Vaughn. Who made this woman a hair an oracle? She is. I'm telling you. Hey, I don't care what y'all say. Y'all can stay on them bootleg YouTube channels. All y'all, I'm gonna keep my little happy butt right here so that we can do this one thing that's really, really important because you all are so vital in doing this. By now, you should be helping us by hitting that hearts up button as you guys do this right here.
Pampa me on, pampa me on.
Yes, keep partnering with us to help change the narrative. The pseudoism is real. It's hurting a lot of consumers. It's costing you guys time. It's costing you guys lots of money. This morning I went to pick up my boss, and I had Cheryl on the phone, and my boss took a moment out to thank Cheryl. Cheryl, you have to be pretty bold, to just be outright and talking about these things because clearly a lot of people are saying things that they have no clue of what they're talking about. And remember, on this platform, we want you guys to be comfortable to air, what you think and what and what you don't know. We are not here to shame you, even though the name of the podcast is the dumbest shit that people say about Black hair. It's not to be insulting. It's really to just, do what we're doing right here because I'm like you, Dewey. This is some really good information because when you think about, gray hair, we are taught in school that it is a disorder. I don't think they go into it enough for us to be able to handle the conversation a lot, behind the chair. I don't know about you, hair savant, but I don't think I would have ever been able to articulate, hair turning gray and then that losing, the loss of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because gray is not turning a color. You're just not having the melanin pump on. It's just decreasing. It's not. That's why some people will begin to gray very slowly, so it will look silvery, and then it'll start salt and pepper. Some just get totally white. It just depends on your gene expression and what is in your genetic code. It's not turning gray. It's just the black is not, the eumelanin is not being produced by the melanocyte cell. The
Okay.
cell's deciding to retire.
Okay.
so,
Okay.
but gray is not the color. It's just a void
Right.
without.
And you know what? It is true in Hair Savant. You can, if you are a cosmetologist in the chat, can you drop that C so we can know who's all in the chat aside from Hair Savant and I? And just to prove that what Cheryl is saying is true, that it is minus the pigment. Because if I was to put powder lightener on this, you know what color it would turn? Orange. So that is still there. I think it's kind of hard to kind of wrap our brains around because the visual,
Mhm.
and then you have all the stories that goes along with it. So what about this? Here, let me just play this clip right here because now we got to get into our last one. So here we go. What about uh, making these pimples and how about this here?
Cortisol is a major stress hormone involved in making skin cells churn out oily lipids from special glands called sebaceous glands. But when there's too much of these oily lipids, called sebum, they can plug up the swollen, inflamed pores and trap the pesky acne-causing bacteria inside, where they set up house and thrive. Add a dash of inflammatory neuropeptides released by the nervous system when you're, well, nervous, and angry zits follow. To make matters worse, Justin is a boy, meaning he's got more testosterone than girls. Testosterone is another hormone that increases oil production in the skin.
All right. So we I think we all can agree that when you get under a certain amount of stress, that you do, you do get those pimples and everything. So what is it? Why is the body, producing this? Is it to make us kind of like calm down, or is the acne an indicator that we're stressing too much? So what's the communication behind the body, making the hair turn gray, come out? What is the body saying to us that we should be doing?
If you understand that the average age of 12 to 13 to 14 is very cataclysmic for the human body, because you're going from child to adult, and that's usually what we call puberty. But when you have the pituitary gland, once again, being in charge by the immune system, and you have all of that secretion, the body is trying to create what we call homeostasis. But when you have to have thicker hair, you have to grow hair on your private parts. You're maturing, and women are getting hair under their arms, and then men is the muscles are getting bulkier. The body is changing, and that is very stressful. Just by not even that's just systemic, and
Mm,
so you have what we call, hopefully, hyper um, hyper too much secretion of sebum, in which creates, of course, extra bacteria in the gland, and then you pop them. They call pimples, and more oil production being produced on the face. But when you understand that, when you're talking about external stressors, you're talking about increased sweat, because now all of a sudden you're nervous. Your hands get moist. You don't think about, water and pores on your fingertips, but your hands do sweat. Your brow sweats more. Your heart pumps more, and that is those androgens. But when you're trying to decide, your body is saying, okay, he's not a boy anymore. He's a man now. Of course, it doesn't understand. It just pour in the testosterone, and then the body pulls back. Then
mm,
when you get the balancing, and then the skin begins to balance out, and you do have an induce of adult when women go into what, menopause. Some go into
okay.
menopause at 30. Some goes into, they start becoming what, estrogen is the feminizing hormone, sometimes contraceptives. So I had all these conversations in my practice, because as cosmetologists, you don't necessarily have to go into it as deep as I did. But
Right.
because as a cosmetic trichologist, the endocrine system, your OBGYN, sometimes they get pregnant, or they may get married, or they get divorced, or your husband or your spouse dies. All of that is so stressful, and your body is always trying to create homeostasis. It is trying
Wow.
to always balance. And
Right.
sometimes the beauty hormones and the beauty cell production does not catch up at the same time. So it wants to balance out.
Mm, mm.
Usually 3 or 4 months, the conditions like areata, it, you know, and then the body is real fascinating, because it won't grow your natural hair back. It'll grow it in a very feathery, uh,
Right.
they
I
call
see that a lot on
it vellus,
people
and
with
then
like the,
right,
yeah,
then
like
it'll get
with
more mature.
cancer.
Right.
Yeah. I do. I see the hair, it doesn't come back in like it before it came out. If you are a cancer survivor, you probably can attest to that. I see that in some bariatric surgery
Hmm.
patients where the hair will come out
A lot
when
of
it
a lot of anesthesia, and anesthesia, kind of base, opioids, things of that nature. But eventually, the body, if it has enough resources, new minerals, new nutrition, diet, sleep, rest, sun, vitamin D. Once it does that, it'll catch up about 6 months later, and then you maybe, will grow the dominant afro
Yeah.
texture that you're.
Okay. All right. So, what about this? Sonia had this question. What about when a child is born with gray hair? What's going on with that? When you have kid like I get a little girl's
lack,
hair.
lack of pigment, not the fact that there's a defect. Just
Oh,
doesn't have a lot of
yeah.
melanin. Now,
Oh,
maybe when the scalp matures, because it doesn't have a lot of subcutaneous fat yet. And that is also what goes on during puberty, because we have very childlike hair between 0 to 12. And then when we don't get our adult teeth until 6 years old. Those are fake teeth that grow that grow in first. Then they fall out. You have to give the body a chance to develop you, especially when you are an African descending person. An African descending person is such a dominant. You got to get darker. Then it's got to make sure that it gets you with the right melanin. You got afro hair, so it takes time for you to get afro hair. There's a lot going on in an African person.
wow. This
So
is like, I'm with you, Kofi. Look at Cheryl talking all like a scientist and whatnot and what have you. This is really deep. I was expecting, y'all know me, Kilolo. I'm always ready, just cut through the mustard to get to the silly shit, But this is very, very, I never know what is going to come out of Cheryl's mouth. So what about, this type of situation here? We have, what did I do with it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, here it goes. Let's see. Here we go.
Well, if you notice more than 100 hairs falling out per day, thinning of hair, or sudden appearance of bald patches, it is due to stress.
What you talking about? Okay, so there we go. People bringing in, please don't get upset with me, y'all, but I gotta say this, okay? Hair Savant, rock with me on this one. Hairstylists, we don't know what to do when y'all bring in those Ziploc bags of hair and you say stuff like, and you heard her say it. Did you hear her not say it, Hair Savant? 100 strands. What is the amount that if you're under stress, how do you count the strands? What's the big ball of hair? They put the braids in, they take the hair down. They're saying the stress made my hair come out with the braids, and we can't decipher. I don't know how much do we count these strands? Do we know how many strands should be coming out if you're under stress? Because that's one that comes up a lot. It's 100 strands of hair.
Yeah, well, I don't think the amount matters. At that point, the key as professionals, as cosmetologists, when we begin to understand, is it just regular hair evacuation just because of wear and tear and you're brushing it, and the body is a natural give and take, but when it becomes excessive, the only thing that we can do is to create a process of elimination and a test so we can communicate with the client properly about what is going on before we send them to a specialist and whatever the case may be. Because if it is shedding, it's either two things: a pH problem or a natural shedding, or it could be systemic, which would be a pH problem in the first place. Mm-hmm. But if you have the same amount of stresses in the morning and you go to work and you do whatever and then you come home at night and you have the same amount of strands, it could be systemic and it could be effluent.
So we know that you guys don't like combing your hair. Now, of course, we're not talking about people who have braids and stuff, but Cheryl just pointed out to you that, you're going to have to pay attention to when the consistency of how the hair, is coming out. I'm not saying don't bring in your bags of hair, but I'm like Hair Savant. We can't tell you how many, because I'm not going to count to tell you. I don't know what 100 strands of hair looks like.
I don't think they've ever proven that.
Okay.
I think that they just gave you a very solid number. And I don't know if they've ever, because everyone doesn't have the same amount of hair follicles on their head or even active or in whatever each stage that particular process could be. So I don't know if they really, and I don't even know what it actually means. You lose 100 hairs every day. I don't even know where we actually put that. I don't even know where that makes a reference. I don't why
Yeah, well,
that's
it does come up a lot where people talk about the amount of hair that they think you should lose 100 strands a day.
well, you're
Things.
not losing them. You're not people. You're not losing them. You get out of that. You're not. You're not. You don't have hair follicle holes, empty holes in your head. Stop that.
Okay, you're not losing the hair. The hair is that's
It's
the
a
that's the
natural
life. Yeah,
process.
that's the life cycle of each individual strand of hair. So it's
Right.
not like you came in with this amount at one, and then you got you're gonna hold on to them till you're like 100. You don't. The hair that you have when you're 10 is not the same head of hair you had when you're 17. Correct?
Absolutely. You
You
don't.
guys, are
It's
you
not
guys following us?
evacuating. Right. It's not evacuating. It's leaving a hair there in place, and then the one that has reached its phase, it's not uh, quite that the hole is empty.
Because people love to say, well, when I was 12, Harrison Vaughn, rock with me on this one. When I was 12 and my aunt burned my hair and then it never came back, or, back when I was 25, and I'm like, I listen, but like she said, you're not losing it. It's just each individual strand is only going to live so long. And then it's like she said, it's going to come out. And then here comes the new one that's already, ready to come in. So you guys can just thank you guys so much. You can calm down and watch out. So this takes us to our next point. I'm sure. What about the claims of medication that can, make the hair grow back after stress? Because people are into these baby don't be bald around the edges and, at the nape, put the serums on. And, so what about remedies that can make hair grow back? Your Rogaine, minoxidil after stress. And even products claiming to make the hair not gray so fast or even reverse gray. What about those types of products?
Right. Well, let me answer it backwards. To reverse gray, what is it? A peel? Is it going
Yes.
down your throat?
Yes.
Is it going down your throat? And that is trying to keep the melanocyte, the immune system, from suppressing the cell production, T cells and stuff like that, from suppressing the hormone that is causing the melanocytes decrease. But you guys got enough to deal with food. I don't know why we would be trying to stay. And it's unfortunate because the cosmetic field has not done enough advocacy to mitigate all of these social pressures. I think it should come from cosmetology. You know,
Wow. Wow. It's funny you should say that because here's what Harrison Savant had to say. He thinks folks, to your point, are associating this with not gaining length. Like the consumer is like way over on another side of their thought processes when it comes to remedying, hair loss and taking pills and putting, oils and ointments and things that. So can these things like, particularly after hair loss. We're not talking about just trying to grow it back, but do these medications like a Rogaine, can they make the hair grow back after hair loss?
They could possibly, but the problem is that to deal with minoxidil the corticosteroid medications and topicals do not solve the problem of what caused the hair to be lost in the first place. They don't deal with the alopecia root. They only deal with giving you guys your ego back, your image back. They're only dealing with that. It doesn't make the cause go away. It doesn't take that you have maybe some fungi or something going on with your gut, or is going on, you have an invader or something. It's not dealing with that. Corticosteroids, such as minoxidil and Rogaine, they are going to grow a stubble. They are going to grow, they're not going to grow the hair that is lubricated, that comes out naturally before your incident or your alopecia. They're not going to grow that kind of hair back. The soft, the supple, the flexuous, the porous, it's not doing that. So, so just try to understand that the hair replacement industry and the pharmaceutical drugs have not been able to produce a hair that nature produces in and of itself. Once the hair gets evacuated, or it starts falling out, or you have some sort of alopecia, it has not been able to, one, balance the immune system, two, make it efficient, cause homeostasis, and then produce the hair of your dreams and your goals and all that other wonderful stuff. The minoxidil and Rogaine is to mitigate the issue, the symptom, and then to keep you from losing it, and to hopefully restart and offset either the hormonal response or the DHT or the over hyper extensive testosterone, or the lack of progesterone or estrogen or something like that. It's not dealing with your pituitary gland and your hypothalamus or your thyroid, and
Wow.
anything like that. It's not there for that. It is to only shock that follicle and to give you an artificial version.
Wow.
But that this hair here is not like the chin hair or the mustache hair or the eyebrow hair, the vellus. So you may get anything, but then you'll say, oh, when I went to go curl my hair, I took the Rogaine and it grew a little bit, but it didn't hot curl, and it didn't. Of course it's not, because it's not the hair that your scalp produced.
Wow, because they claim, that this Rogaine is the only thing that, the FDA approves. Like, it's been medically proven to grow hair back. But what you're saying is you're getting some hair, but it's not hair that, you can work with. So if, when it comes to like styling and being able to braid it, you're just going
to and don't dare color it, because you don't know what you don't know what's in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You may get anything, but Rogaine has had a great lobby, and they've been in Washington for a very long time, and they're able to get it. And it may not even be basically, it may be passable, it may be FDA approved, but it doesn't mean it works, especially if the cause of the alopecia is not hormonal.
Only should anybody catch the way she just slid that one by us. By the way, this chat is on fire. We appreciate, we got some nice numbers in here. Could you guys please share the content?
If that makes sense, guys, just please let me know.
Yeah, she kind of slid that in. The FDA approves it, but that don't mean that's going to work. Did you guys hear that one? So we just kind of have to lower our expectations. Here is what someone suggests that we could do to help with this situation here.
Stress does play a role. She says it's possible to reverse graying by reducing your stress, and you can do so by taking some small steps to improve your everyday life. That includes paying attention to what makes you upset and try to spot any trends. You can also consider going on vacation, which one study found to be very effective. But if that's not an option, Dr. Alper says you could do other activities like get into the tub for a bubble bath, do some journaling, or meditation.
What you talking about, Will?
Okay. So Cheryl say stress will what's happening when
It
we
has an effect. It
yeah.
starts the domino effect. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we get stressed, it's really the immune system. We're messing it up, guys. And when the immune system gets messed up, the two words she used is that our immune system, like the human body, is very discerning and it's very discriminating. And so, in that process, the body is going to make a choice. Am I going to pick your heart or your spleen, or am I going to pick your hair? Hair is not going to be, the body has a discriminating taste.
What happens? The moment something happens to a person, you guys are going to church, grocery store, friendship, you're going out with your friends, and you say, "You okay?" They'll lose weight or they'll gain weight. Their eyes get a little darker. The skin starts to be a little strange. They're tired or they're withdrawn because the body is pulling back the resources and something is wrong. They don't feel good. And so, like, well, you can tell when your child is sick. They don't talk much. That means they don't have the resources. What do you have? So when you're sick, all you do is want to what? Reserve. You go into conserving mode. You go to sleep. That's the body saying, I look, I'm not giving you aerobic energy today. You have an issue. I'm going to park your ass and you're going to go to bed. You don't even feel good. That's what the human body does. It's a excellent, fascinating, excellent, outstanding machine because its job is to keep you healthy and to feel well. And if you don't, it will give you signs and symbols and some kind of feeling that, and even the psychological aspect will, you'll know something is wrong. And that is your emotional system, your nervous system, and then your endocannabinoid system, your psychological functions and faculties are just not optimal. That is the body's way of pulling back.
And so, plucking your hair one by one, like you saw in that video, will not make the gray go away. The hair fall, all of this stuff. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Wait a minute. Sandra, our virtual co-host said, I'm going to park your ass. That's right. The body, we have got to learn to listen to our bodies. And though it may seem, kind of superficial, but maybe we all really should just take a chill pill and just chill the hell out. Because the body is obvious, the body is in charge. And so we're going to have to listen to it and be patient. Cheryl just told you these things takes time. Give the body time. But if you're tired and you're sluggish, don't try to press through. Just go home and like Sandra said, park it. Okay, park it and let the body.
The moment somebody catches a little bit of the flu, they tell you ain't got to coerce them. You ain't got to tell them to go home. You ain't got to tell them nothing. They going home. And what do? When the car runs out of gas, it don't go faster. It goes slower until it stops. And that is the wonderful check and balances of our immune system. It will definitely slow you down. It needs to cell repair. It needs to get you to slow down so your body's immune system can work. Hopefully, you do have some good nutrition, some good teas. And then if you need an antibiotic or something, well, then, you got to park it. Absolutely.
All right. So our virtual host has spoken. She is second that motion. And anybody else want to raise their hand and give it a third? That we agree. We have just learned today that stress definitely can impact and influence our hair. It can most certainly influence the color of our hair. And for sure, well, we kind of already knew about the skin, but we did learn how that actually happens. And the best thing that we could do is respect how the body is very discriminating and very, very discerning. I'm not going to say I knew that. So y'all can perpetrate the fraud, but I can't do that. So we're going to be back next week. Thursday, we're going to be talking about um, um, the natural sphere, like the retelling of our Black hair history. So we know we have our history with Dr. Willie Morrow. We have our history with Madam C.J. Walker, Annie Turbo Malone, Sarah Spencer Washington. However, when you look at the new hair care products, you would kind of think that we didn't have this history, which is a strange phenomenon. So Charlotte's calling this the natural sphere. So we're going to talk about the retelling of the Black hair care industry and what does that mean? How is that hurting? How is it helping? Maybe it is helping. Maybe it's hurting. We're not quite sure. Cheryl's going to take us through a deep dive about the natural sphere. Okay. The retelling of the Black hair hair industry. I'm going to play the clip to our documentary because that is, to me, sure you did a phenomenal job in that. So that'll help get the conversation going. Lisa has this to say to you, Cheryl. Thank you, Oracle. I think this is so amazing how you have become the Oracle. Harrison Fine, you must have really been onto something with that one. This was more than what I expected. We're going to come back next week and let's talk spirituality and hair. 9 ether hair, crystals in hair. What did the Bible say about hair? This is something that's really important. I didn't know. If anybody knows what 9 ether hair is, get ready. This one is going to be deep. We have a lot of people who are into crystals. They're into, smudging and, reading scripture. And what does all this mean to our hair? Does it work? Does it have any influence? Should we squash it? So 9 ether hair, Yaki, where you at, Yaki? We're coming for you. So we're going to play a lot of clips so I can get you guys ready to understand what we're talking about when we're talking about spirituality and hair, the Bible, the whole kit and caboodle. That was probably going to take a little bit longer. So make sure you eat, get your questions ready, bring your food to the chat because Cheryl is going to chop because Cheryl, I'm bringing it.
Okay.
I'm bringing 9 ether hair, crystals and hair. Smudging in hair, and what about the Bible? All these religions and hair. You got to cover it up. Some religions you can't show the hair; you got to shave it off. There's a lot of aspects to spirituality and hair that I think we need to talk about. And Sandra says that sounds really, really juicy. Miss Lisa says,
"Ooh, I know,
yeah." This is deep. So if this is your lane, come on and join us. In the meantime, we will see you guys over on Planet Pluto Pseudo. That's right. It's going down this Thursday at 10 o'clock p.m. EST or 7 o'clock p.m. PST. And again, our topic is about natural sphere. What the ham sandwich happened to the Black beauty industry? How has this new Y2K generation of hair manufacturers of Black hair care products, what's happening, what's going on? I think this will be great. And I'll find some wonderful clips from some documentaries to help generate that discussion. In the meantime, don't forget to share the content. Cheryl, anything you want to close us out about stress and hair? I learned a lot. I mean, I've been wrong the whole thing. So.
Well, in a podcast, you really can't get to the really deeper issues on how we actually problem solve, extract the information out of the client to the point where their information helps us, like when it happened, how it happened, give me the backstory, and it's in the consultation. But then in the Afro Hair Science Summit, we usually go down deeper into the diagnosis and prognosis, so we can be part of the community to help them get their hair back faster.
All right. So don't forget, if you have not got your tickets, check this out.
If you would let me do your hair. Let me do your hair. Let me do your hair. Let me do your
All right, super duper shout out to the Ohio Association of Beauticians and also Powell's Barber and Beauty Supply. We do have tickets available for the Afro Hair Summit Toledo. We have 4 wonderful topics that we're going to be covered at the wonderful affordable price of $65. Don't forget that lunch is included. And so, and all of these topics, by the way, I'm sure you can tell they're kind of leading into the Afro Hair Summit. So we appreciate you guys so much, and you know what we say on this particular platform when we're signing out, right? We're always talking about a whole lot of peace, for sure, a whole lot of love, and most certainly, y'all know some hair. Y'all better stop stressing, okay? Stop stressing, all right? And don't forget, if you ain't got it, don't want it, can't grow it, hell, you plan on cutting it off, it ain't your thing any old kind of way, don't worry about it. Why? Because all of that is beautiful too, and so are you. Just know that your immune system is like that beauty is gonna be last on the list. So get it from the inside, guys. Thanks so much. This was wonderful, Cheryl. Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.